Welcome back. I'm a little out of practice, so we're trying something entirely new with this video, as I have decided to break away from any set patterns or series setups. You can still do them, but it's not going to be quite so rigid. Lately there have been many demonstrations by people who believe that because of one little thing that, in the whole, really doesn't matter, they believe they are somehow superior. But why do they really believe what they believe? Why hate? Why am I still writing questions in this script when I'm supposed to be breaking the pattern? Now, I'm not going to go political, except for maybe a small bit. Nor am I going to write this as a history lesson unless it's needed. This subject, though, goes beyond just the unrest in America and in other places. And it goes on for far longer than the United States of America has been around. But is there a cure? Let's find out. So go grab something like the subject today, sit back, relax, now let's get started. There are many who can and do say that hate is a common enough crime, but where does it really begin? What is the actual reason behind such an obstructive and destructive state of mind? Let's take a look at some examples. One of my personal heroes, Galileo, was hated and even ostracized for his strange belief that the world was in motion and that it wasn't the only one. His ideas were remarkable, that the universe was in motion. The ones who should have taken it as a possibility turned on him, telling him he shouldn't say something so damning. Of course, today the majority of people know he was right. Or let's take an extreme example from a person who is often thought of as a paragon of hate, Adolf Hitler. The reason he gained so much in his hateful speech wasn't because he told his followers he was going to kill millions of people or be responsible for their deaths. It was because he had them believing somehow they were superior to everyone else. He made all those who followed his lunatic ideology seem like it was their duty to eliminate the so-called dregs of humanity. I can list hundreds of other examples of religious hate afflicted of certain groups or of certain people. I don't really think that it's essential to list them all when they can be easily looked up, because the definition is pretty obvious. Hatred is nothing more than the idea that you and your group is superior and already has the right to demand authority and action against those who do not belong to your group. It's also a manifestation of fear that you may not be right, and you might just not know what you believe you know. And this is different from anger. Anger is a response to an injustice, to someone who is being unfair or uncooperative. If let free from control, it can lead to destruction, but if controlled, it can lead to great changes in society. I'd imagine your mind is now in Charlottesville and the way the people and actions displayed their hate. It's on everyone's mind in America and internationally, but here's what many people are missing. Hate isn't a one-way street. It's also not a way to make positive changes. There has, to my knowledge, never been any positive actions accomplished by the haters of the world. Hate is also the avenue of morons. When I say this, I mean that with those who want us to hate, it's easy to manipulate and coerce people into believing the propaganda. Those who want us to hate are expecting us to be idiots who would just follow what they say. They don't want us to think for ourselves or to do our own research, and they absolutely don't want any diversity in their ranks. Getting examples of hate is easy, but looking at the reality of it is not. When we hear the term, we often think of it as status symbol of the Nazi Party and their hatred of anything that wasn't their Aryan race, even though it is interesting to see their leader wasn't Aryan at all. It's easy to think of the ones who wear white sheets and burn crosses like the cowards they are. It's easy to shuffle people off into one group or another. though it's much more difficult to see hatred where we aren't expecting to see it. Yet it happens. Remember the definition? People thinking they know better than you do? How many groups out there believe, carte blanche, that anyone in another group, no matter how their individual actions have identified them, deserves to be hated? How many say that if one person's family comes from the northern United States going westward where California gold rush happened, and therefore had nothing to do with the biggest blot on the United States, is automatically a racist? And how many don't want to see the good that other groups may do because they are told they need to be hated? There is one example I have of hatred that happened to me personally, and that is when, with a much older car, and shortly after an election, somebody shouted out in a parking lot how they automatically hated me just because I had an opinion that they didn't like. But now here comes the fun part. There is one, a cure for hate, one that separates groups into individuals. It's not an easy thing to do, but it is so worth it. You see, hate cannot cancel out hate. It's impossible. We can't hate one group and expect that group not to hate us back. Sure, there are plenty that call for apologies, but can that really work? History tells us it doesn't. Hate still brings up hate. Now, I want to be perfectly clear here. I have nothing wrong with people being angry. It's okay if individuals have frustrated or offended you. That's a perfectly rational thing. It's fine to feel it, but it's not fine to let it take control. That point, the rage point, is where control is lost and where hate can begin. It's not a rational thing, but if you let it out, if you use it to help promote positive change, then anger can be positive. But letting it become hate can never be a good thing. The antibody of hate isn't hate. If you want to get rid of weeds in the garden, you have to work to remove them. If you want to have clean water to drink, you have to filter it. If you want to have a disease cured, you do what you can to eradicate it. The opposite of hate, the cure, is no big surprise. It's being able to separate individuals out from a group. It's being able to say that a group that a particular person might belong to isn't necessarily agreeing to the propaganda of that group. It's being able to see each person is a person in their own right and not given over to what the group dynamic says. And it's being able to learn how a person is different from a group. It's being able to see how a person can be a good person without belonging to said group. It's learning. It's seeing what is stated as belonging to a certain group isn't truth. It's being able to state that those who might promote hate, even if they don't state it, are in the wrong. It's seeing how the patterns of hate continue, how the focus of a particular hate group uses even the most flimsy of threads as a rock-solid excuse and proof that the hate is deserved. I don't mean to be self-promoting here, but I use this dogma in some of my books, the third and fourth Fire Sword volumes. I created a hate group against some of the good guys, basically showing what is meant. But is it really that easy? Why do people want to sponsor hate? What is the purpose if the answer to it is so simple? For this, I have to do something kind of disgusting. What would those who fought in World War II, Korea, or Vietnam have being able to think of their opponents as actual people? What would it have been like if, instead of giving the opponent some horrible nickname, these people would have been reminded that their enemy was a family member, a sibling, a parent, and or a child? What if all those idiots that wear white sheets and burn crosses were told that the people they try to terrorize are, in fact, people and not just foul names they want to slap on? Sponsoring the idea that the people we fought against are a whole lot of bad titles, telling someone, and I do apologize, that the Japs and the Wops deserve to be shot, helps make the idea that they are an enemy work out. Just like all of the things that are given out as labels in order to sponsor hate. The idea comes in that they cannot be equal to you if they have such demeaning names. The idea is that these labels tag someone to hate, makes it so that they can be fought and destroyed easily. So why would they want to use these distasteful techniques? Why would they want to call someone names like a child who calls another one names in the school ground? The answer is simple, a lot simpler than you might think. Imagine telling a group of people that you know find something wrong with another group that you want to join them. Not only that, you want to be a leader. Imagine what it would enact if you can use manicured writing and speech to stoke those fires of hate enough so that ultimately it comes to a point where the disgruntled can be flamed into a full-blown wildfire. Sure, it might be some small issue of disgust against one group from another that can pretty much go unnoticed until someone, like with a fire, comes along to poke, prod, blow on the anger, and pour gasoline until an entire group is inflamed and is ready to destroy. What is it about hate? Why is it that people put groups into categories where they can become the focus of hate? What is the whole issue? It's all about one thing. Going back to Hitler, he had opened his propaganda machine by telling those who were following him that they would be responsible for the deaths of millions of people. He would have lost all support. If the focus of armies and warriors was on the fact that they were going to fight against other human beings, how much would it have been worth? The focus has to be careful, and it has to be gentle. But it is easy to see those who rise up in the leadership of hate groups aren't interested in those people they're trying to be in charge of. They're interested in controlling them. Because a focus group of haters is very easy to control, the focus on those small matters that make people hate can be inflamed until it's easy to simply point at and direct the hating people to go where you want destruction and chaos, and to stir up other groups to hatred and to violence as well, because that is when people become controllable, where they become less human. Humans that are intelligent and able to think for themselves, and more of obedient robots who can be tossed aside when they're no longer functional. Sure, we hear more and more about Charlottesville. We hear about it because there are those that are carefully trying to make us more likely to hate. And there are those that offer nothing real but keep projecting propaganda on us, telling us only what they try to program us with. The idea that people are being set up to be fodder, to be dross in the battle for control, would shake people to their core if they could see it. That's why they have to be careful when they try to take control. It's essential for their final goal to take away the right of a person to learn and obtain an opinion of their own on any subject, and to remove the ability to think for themselves in order to achieve that control. Those who are controlled like this, if it's done right, even think that it's okay if it happens. They don't realize this truth. The people that hate, the ones that give up their rights to think and to learn for themselves, are unable to do anything for themselves because of one thing quite certain. It's easy to make a hater do anything the ones in control want them to, and it is by stoking the fires of that hate with promises that are impossible to meet, but they keep plotting so that the hate can be fed. So with these promises, and with the fact that these haters are being fed exactly what is needed, the haters become owned by those who are in control. And isn't that an interesting idea? That haters are nothing but slaves to those who are in charge of their group, willing slaves. They are bought by the trinkets the ones in control give, but these trinkets and these empty promises are often used so that the haters, the ones they own, can do their dirty work for them. So here's the final question. Is it possible that we're too far gone? The answer is no. As long as people can recover the idea that they have the right to learn for themselves and they don't need empty promises and useless trinkets, but need an actual opportunity to gain their own achievements, the answer is to realize why they're focusing the haters on certain groups and trying to distract the rest of us from the actual issues that need to be raised. The answer is simple, but the achievement is going to be hard to work through. The achievement must be reached. It's hard, but it's far more worth it. When we no longer see each other as being less because of a different skin color, a different nation of origin, a different religion, a different language, orientation, or even gender, and see each other as people, each with a personality and a history that is fascinating to learn about. It has to be. It needs to be.
Wow, it has been a while, hasn't it? But I hope I can get things out a little better now. Anyway, here's the way it breaks down. Up there's the subscribe button. 2 videos, one there, one there. There's the description that has a few links in it, and of course a comment. Thumbs up would be helpful. And up here, believe it or not, are my social media contacts. And well, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time.